Hey, it's Adele from Let's Get Inkie, and we're diving into a new series today called Let's Get Cricut-y. It was the most original name I could possibly think of. But today we're diving into a little journal project using the Cricut Maker, which was kindly gifted to me by Cricut last year. And the more that I use new techniques and new products, the more I'm becoming obsessed with it. So definitely prepare to see more projects. Oh, please excuse my dusty MacBook there. It definitely needs a clean. So I set up with a nice cup of tea because you peeps know my track record with technology. But surprisingly, I didn't break any of the technology today, which was very exciting. I am making a little traveler's notebook insert, and I wanted to make some sort of little self-care project around Mother's Day, and just a little something to take a few minutes out of the day to reflect and have a little bit of me time. So I have sped up some parts of the Cricut design space because I was just fiddling around with different settings. But the first thing that I did was I grabbed a rectangle from the shapes little toolbar there. And then up the top, I changed the measurements so that it would fit a cover. It would be, a cover of a traveler's notebook insert. And then I'm adding a score line here, which I've never done before. I will definitely admit I am a complete novice when it comes to all of this, and I want to take you on the adventure of learning with me. I moved over this rectangle so that the score line was in the center. And if you would like a real-time video where I go step by step through Design Space with you, please let me know. That's the software. If you are unfamiliar with the Cricut, which is a digital cutting machine, the Design Space is how you create all of your stuff that you want to cut. So I've got my light grip mat here, and the light grip, she lies. She's a strong grip, and so you'll see in a few things it is quite difficult to pull the paper off one-handed, which is what I was trying to do while filming. Would definitely suggest two hands, which is much easier. So I've got my little rectangle here, and I'm picking medium cardstock because I am using some scrapbook paper. And to someone who is very not tech savvy, I don't know what the opposite is, maybe anti-tech savvy, this software is ridiculously easy to use. So if you're like me, never fear, it's very easy peasy. Now here in typical Adele style, I struggle greatly with the very protective packaging on the packet here.
Just push the pen through it. The pen is...
No, the plastic is so thick.
Oh no, it's shaking because I'm laughing.
As you can hear from that little bit of audio, my husband Inky Beard here on YouTube was trying to give me some support and camera skills, but was laughing so much the camera was shaking as I tried to open that scoring stylus. Extremely protective packaging, which I do respect. I do like a nice solid packaging. So I simply clicked the scoring stylus into the little bitsy bit there. I'm sure it has a proper name, but I'm going to call it the little bitsy bit. And then I simply loaded my mat and then pressed the Cricut button, and whoop, in it goes. So it kind of sucks it in, and I'm sure there's a more technical term than sucks it in. It feeds the mat into the machine and registers makes sure that it can fit, and then it does its little thing. And this cut in no time at all. It took way less than a minute to do, and I had a journal cover, which was very lovely. So the reason why I wanted to pick this particular project is that I have had a couple of months in a bit of a not great headspace. It can be as simple as one thing happening in the day to just bring the whole day down for me. And so I'm really trying to notice the little moments, the tiny things that I'm grateful for. Sometimes it might be as simple as having fresh bread for my Vegemite toast. Other days it might be seeing someone that I haven't seen for a while, or something a bit more momentous. but it could also just be the tiny things like Archie holding my hand at the shops and actually wanting to hold my hand. And so I wanted to make this little traveler's notebook insert as part of a new traveler's notebook that I want to put together with a few different inserts that we might make over the rest of this year. And this one is just, it's not a daily journal, but it's any time that I feel like I'm getting stuck in that negative headspace of picking it up and spending a couple of days of documenting the little moments to treasure. Okay, so here Aaron helped me with this next part and I needed to make the pages. And so I decided to do something complicated. And I'm going to be honest, this is the first traveler's notebook insert that I've made. So why not make it complicated? That sounds like me. And so I have my rectangle. I copied it from the journal cover and just made it a tiny bit smaller just to prevent page overhang. And then I simply grabbed the text from the toolbar on the left and wrote the numbers 1, 2, 3. Made them a little bit smaller so they'd fit, and then I duplicated the layer. I pressed Command D on my MacBook. I'm not sure what it would be for Windows, maybe Control D. And then I am alternating it down the bottom of that page. Then, to be a bit swifty, I'm copying it on the other side, the left side of this page. It will all make sense when it gets together. And I am flipping it horizontally. So this may look a little bit complicated, but basically all I've done is put 1, 2, 3, copied it again, flipped it. And then I made the second page opposite. I will save my project, and if I can work out a way to link it so that you can use it in the design space, I will definitely put it in the description below. I will get Mr. Inkybeard Technology onto that task tonight. So now I'm going through and I'm trying to figure out, now this was a bit of a mistake and I wanted to include it because the thing that I love about my channel and about you inklets is that we learn together and we face the failures together. So I picked medium cardstock. This cardstock was probably, I'm pretty sure it's 180 GSM. I'm pretty sure it is. But alas, it was not medium cardstock. It did not work. It was a little too vigorous. And so I did change it off camera to light cardstock and it worked perfectly. So I would suggest if you're doing a project like this to make sure that you do a bit of a test cut if it's the first time that you're ever cutting that material. I've never cut this cardstock before, so I wasn't quite sure. I took a gamble and the gamble did not pay off, but yes, this is light cardstock, not medium. So you can see it doing its thing. It's taking it in, it's taking it out, it's doing the numbers, the outline, and then this is the most satisfying part out of the whole thing, is just peeling it all off. Yes, so satisfying. And then I repeated this 6 times, well, 5 more times. So I had 6 pages in total, 3 of each of the page types because there was 2 different pages that I created. So here's a bit of an up-close artsy view of inside the Cricut Maker. I find machines so fascinating. It's always been something that I've loved since I was a kid. My obsessions as a child were topography, maps, and machines. And so what my biggest dream was that my parents would one day let me take apart the VCR and inspect it and pull out all of the circuitry boards. But alas, that day never came. And I was deeply saddened by it to this day, 30 odd years later. But I just really appreciate that you can see inside the cutting machine while it does its thing. It's not a mystery. You can watch it happen. So now it's time to get a little bit vinyl-y. Now, this is the first time I have used vinyl as well. Actually, I lie. This is the first time I've cut and used vinyl at home by myself. And I was very lucky that this week that's just passed, I was invited down to Sydney to a cricket event, which focused on self-care and Mother's Day and making some fun projects for that. And we got to come home with a huge box of goodies that we made. And I used a whole bunch of things that I had never used before, including the mug press, which I have got on my wish list, and I think I might treat myself to very soon because it's a very handy little machine to have, especially if you're making personalised gifts for peeps. And here I am again with the packaging. I just wasn't having luck. Look, peeps, you've been around here for long enough to know that I am not the most graceful of crafters. I do things my own inky way. And I had packaging flying here, there and everywhere on this day, and just things getting stuck to me in all sorts of ways that they shouldn't have been. Hang on, I'll get back to the Cricut day in 1 second, but here's the journal. And you can see the numbers are offset from the left, and then the next page the numbers are on the right, and then the next page are on the left, and the next page are on the right, till it will all make sense when I add the paint. It's a bit hard to explain without the paint. So here I wanted to have a go at cutting vinyl, and so I'm doing a layered vinyl using the offset tool. And if you would like a real-time video talking through every single step of making an offset vinyl lettered print, please let me know. Or cut, no, not a print. Please let me know, because I can film that separately. It would just be probably about half an hour long if I was to include it in this video as well. So I've started cutting, and so yes, back to the vinyl and the Cricut day. This week I went down to Sydney, and it was the first time that I had used the transfer paper and vinyl, and it was so fun to be able to watch other people doing it too, like in real life. And I learnt lots of new techniques, so they'll be popping up over the next few months, different bits here and there. And I've also got a whole box of goodies that Cricut sent me that I am looking forward to using. I've got some more pleather, and I want to do some more vinyl things and iron-on things and all the things. So they'll be coming up soon. All right, so now it's time to add some true inkiness to this journal and add all of the paint and the colours. So what I've done is I've pulled out a couple of pink and yellowy orange paints, and I am painting the page behind the cut numbers so that when you turn the page you can see the paint through the numbers. Does that make sense? It's a very difficult thing to explain without using my hands and going like flippy flappy with my hands so that you can see what I'm talking about. But just so you know, while I'm recording this voiceover on my bedroom floor, while Aaron plays video games with his friend in the lounge room and is very loud on his microphone, I am doing all sorts of flippy flap hand actions that you just need to imagine in your head. So I sped that up, and I went through and painted the rest of the pages because it was quite repetitive. I just picked a new colour, turned the page, painted, dried it, picked a new colour, etc., etc. Now it's time to staple it together, and these blue tack's freaking everywhere. It just pops out of nowhere. Whenever I need blue tack, I can never find it, but whenever I don't need it, it's stuck to something completely irrelevant that it doesn't need to be stuck with. Anyone else have that? Please let me know in the comments that I'm not alone. So I'm using my long arm stapler, and this is one of the favourite supplies that I've ever got from, I just got mine from Officeworks, and I'm sure you could use a normal stapler as well, but I just find the long arms really helpful if like journal making is something that you're into. Oh, now here's another fail, but like I said, we're learning together. We're failing together as one inky community. I cut the vinyl too big, like way too big to fit on the front of my traveler's notebook. So I thought, hey, instead of throwing it out, I can find a use for that. So I grabbed my journal, which is the journal that I used as a paint palette while making the painty bits on the journal, and I decided to stick it on the front of that instead. So I'm using my little pick tool to weed out all of the bits of vinyl in between all of those letters. And like I said, if you would like a real-time, slowed down, long, half-hour, 45-minute long video on doing the vinyl lettering and things, please let me know. Here I'm applying the transfer and I am sticking on my vinyl. Now I cut, see, this is all a learning experience. I cut my vinyl a little bit too deep, and so the backing was coming off with it as well. Now here, the transfer that I used was the strong one. I don't think I needed the strong one. It was very strong. So next time I probably play around with the other one that I have in my box of goodies. But that one's done. And you know what? I've only just thought of it now. The title is very reminiscent of Animal Crossing colours, and it's only just occurred to me now. Yes, I decided to go with the brown because I tried the black vinyl as the background colour, and when I say tried, I mean I just looked at it. I didn't actually cut it. But it felt too dark, and because the butterflies on this scrapbook paper are so delicate, it was just too much. It was too much. And so I went with the brown instead. Brown probably isn't a colour that I would typically reach for if I was picking backgrounds, but I really love the way that it worked. I feel like it really suited this cover. And I paired it with gold because, I am gold. Inkie in itself is gold, just as a colour. So there's my big noggin hopping in the way. And this tool, my goodness, everybody who has a Cricut needs this tool, and I couldn't have done it without it. It was definitely my support throughout this project. And it was also really fun. I know that there's a lot of people, you either love weeding the little bits out of the inside of vinyl and things, like poking out all of those little bits, or you despise it. Please let me know in the comments, are you a lover or a despiser? I think I'm a lover. It's quite satisfying when you pick all of those little bits out. All right, so here you can see the paint poking through the numbers. It's a bit easier to see this way. Now I wanted to decorate a page to show you how I'm going to use it. And because the numbers are backwards on the left-hand pages, or at the start here, I decided to use those pages as kind of like photo collage pages, and I wanted to give it a real journaly vibe, if that makes sense, with things just stuck in and little handwritten notes, and I just wanted to give it a real tactile journal feel. So I thought using the washi tape there to pretend that photo is just stuck in with the washi tape was a good idea. I'm using some tiny word stickers that I just had sitting next to me on my desk, and then I decided to colour in the little painty splodge and decorate it a bit. I'm just using that pink pen, is from Muji, I want to say. It's a lovely thin tipped pink pen. And I just drew some little leaves on the paint, and then I added my 3 things that I'm grateful for, as well as just a little bit about, being grateful for the little moments. Added some sprinkly bits, and jazz hands, we're done. So thanks for watching today, peeps. Please let me know in the comments if you would like to see specific Cricut-y projects. So you can see those leaves poking through. I freaking love it. But yes, let me know if there's any specific Cricut-y projects that you'd like to see. If you'd like to see a bit more of a detailed video using the Design Space software. And if you are a weeding lover or a weeding despiser. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate giving it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out, and it helps my videos be found by new inklets that are looking for some crafty projects to do. And I will see you in another project very soon. If you are celebrating Mother's Day next weekend, I hope you have a wonderful one, and I will see you in the next video very soon. Have a great weekend. Bye.